Now. Breaking news in the NHL. Wasn't planning on streaming before the draft, but here we are. Alex DeBrincat has been traded from the Chicago Blackhawks to the Ottawa Senators in exchange for the 7th overall pick in tonight's draft, as well as the 39th overall pick in tonight's draft, a second round pick, and a third round pick in 2024. Just out of shots. Initial thoughts in this one. I think that the Matt Murray situation from earlier today has had huge implications. It was supposed to be that Matt Murray was going from the Senators to the Sabres at 50% retained with the 7th overall pick in exchange for the 16th overall pick from Buffalo. The Sabres were going to move from 16 to 7 and take on only 50% of Matt Murray's salary. Instead, because that deal was nixed by Matt Murray and his no trade clause, the Senators pick up Alex DeBrincat for that 7th overall pick, in addition to the 39th overall pick and a third round pick in 2024. Just no way. Initial reactions, no way. Bombshell, blockbuster trade, the Brinket baby. Let's go through the numbers. I was thinking of making a video for this one, but with the way live streams have been right now, I said, why not just do raw reaction here on draft day? It doesn't get better than that. Instead of making a video and uploading it and editing it, and it's an hour after the fact. Let's go through the numbers here. Here we go. Alex DeBrincat on the Ottawa Senators now. With the Chicago Blackhawks in 368 games, 307 points, 160 goals, a premier goal scorer in the NHL, a two-time 40-goal scorer as well. In 2020-21, he was on pace for, 82 divided by 52 times 30. He was on pace for 51 goals in 2020-21. This season, the past season, 41 goals and 37 assists for 78 points. Just numbers wise, a fantastic addition to the core of Norris, Stützle, Tkachuk. Who else can even? My brain isn't even thinking right now. Maybe even Giroux if he comes. Batherson. Just imagine, you got your first line of Tkachuk, Norris, and DeBrincat, let's say. You have your second line, or even let's say your first line of Norris, Stützle, and Giroux, perhaps. Or maybe even if it's not Giroux, put Batherson up there. Your second line with Tkachuk and DeBrincat, centered by potentially a free agent guy if you can get some more salary out there. Just me talking right now as the first thing that comes to my mind. Jack says he hates being a Hawks fan. Trade everyone. I don't even care. And it's crazy. This is day one, or about to be day one, I think, of Seth Jones's $9.5 million contract kicking in. And then the Hawks are just on full-on fire sale mode. Insane trade. Big fan. Ottawa fleeced, says Colton. I hate being a Hawks fan right now. Ramsey says, makes sense. Ottawa wanted to move the pick and Chicago wanted to get into the first round. Going back now, though. So Alex DeBrincat, let's get back to the numbers here. Alex DeBrincat, he is an RFA. He's in the final year of his contract, which is paying him a salary cap hit of $6.4 million. His salary is $9 million. So the Ottawa Senators need to really bank on this being a good fit for them for DeBrincat long term if he's going to stick around. The costs is so high because of the caliber of player that Alex DeBrincat is, as well as the Senators owning his RFA rights. So that's huge right there. Even if he doesn't stay, they own his rights and can move it for something else. But still, just to say that the 7th overall pick is going to be a great player, whether it be Kemmel or Cutter Gauthier or whoever else that it is. It's going to be a great draft pick for the Blackhawks. But the Hawks it's crazy. They're in like full on rebuild mode right now, as with the extra salary cap of DeBrincat being moved, but you still have the Seth Jones contract kicking in at $9.5 million for a little while now. Your first pair is Jones and McCabe, and your second pair is Stillman and this guy Alex Vlasic. Is that your second pair? Yeah, you have Kane and Taves for one more year. Tyler Johnson at $5 million, and then after that, you have no one on your team that takes up more than close to 1.5% of your salary cap. Like, that's wild. That is wild. Okay, let's say Connor Murphy comes back from his injured reserve. You put him on the top pair with Seth Jones. Jake McCabe's on your second pair. Like, I don't know. The Hawks are just in full-on rebuild mode, not even retooling mode, full-on rebuild mode. So what does that, are Kane and Tays going to enjoy that? After this next season? Are they going to sign on for more of that? I don't know. So it's great that they get that high first-round pick. They have 3 seconds and 3 thirds. That's great for the Hawks. But if I'm a player on the Hawks right now, I don't know if I'm down to stick around for what's going on. What game's better, NHL 21 or 22? There's different reasons for each game. If anyone needs me, I'll be on Cloud 9. Hobbsy, a huge Senators fan. Canadian tradition. Do you think Buffalo or Ottawa will make the playoffs next year? I could see Ottawa making it with that big pick right there and how hard they'll be playing in free agency. I could see it being a possibility. Ramses, what position is Brady Tkachuk listed as? I thought he was a center, but I may be thinking of his brother. No, I think Brady Tkachuk, he could play center, but I think he's usually on the wing. Matthew Tkachuk is always on the wing as well. Who's available at 7? Well, we don't know yet, obviously, but I think it's going to be Joaquin Kemmel or perhaps Cutter Gauthier. Probably one of those 2 names. I doubt the Yerchek or Nemec drops to 7. Maybe Matthew Savoie at 7. One of those could be a possibility right there for the Blackhawks. Just getting back to the trade itself, I was looking at his 82 game average here on Hockey Reference, Alex DeBrincat. When you look over, scrolling down here, 82 game average. So throughout his career, he's good for a guarantee of 36-ish goals. Like I said, this past year, 41 goals. The year before that, 50, on pace for 51, 52. He's good for 60, 70 some points. He shoots the puck like crazy. He's not going to be a guy who's really blocking too many shots or anything like that, but he's still out there. He threw 101 hits this last season, over a hit per game. The last couple of years, he's been throwing his body around a little bit for a guy his size. So that's something. Possession metrics, you can start looking into some other stuff if you're interested, like Corsi percentage at 56.2 at Corsi 4 percentage, which is, that's above average right there. And speaking of above average, looking in the Twitter sphere over here, I believe I was looking at what Jay Fresh had to say, but I wouldn't mind scrolling down through, seeing what other people have to say while we're at it. DeBrincat being traded, everyone excited. The Kirby Doc talk is also heating up. The Hawks are really on full tilt rebuild mode at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to do more. Where's this Jay Fresh tweet? Can't quite find it, so I guess we'll just go find it manually. As he was showing the metrics of Alex DeBrincat and how valuable of a player he is. Who do I think the Jets will draft? I wouldn't be surprised if they take someone like Connor Geekie or Denton Matejchuk. Probably get forward, though. I wouldn't be surprised that. Let's see. Here we are. So he has a wins above replacement projection of 97%. He's in the 97th percentile, 89th percentile of offense, 51st percentile of defense, which isn't bad actually for a small winger, a goal-scoring winger. Goals per 60, he's in the 92nd percentile. Primary assists per 60 in the 67th percentile. Great finishing, great at drawing penalties, great against high levels of competition. So he checks every single box that you'd be looking for. Then if you want to go even more in depth, is he great at forechecking and in-zone assists and carry exits? All right, you got him. A couple of things he's not as great at, but he is an elite premier scorer in the NHL. And it's not that the Senators got him for the picks that they did, but to think that they went from almost swapping that pick and Matt Murray for the 16th to getting Alex DeBrincat for that and a bit more, I find that crazy to think of. So just going back to Alex DeBrincat, who's now listed on the Ottawa Senators, I want to look at the Ottawa Senators themselves and how this affects them. Now that we looked at Chicago, let's close it out by looking at Ottawa. They now have $20.7 million in cap space. They don't have their first and they don't have their second. So it definitely shows that they're starting to get not into all-in cup contender mode, but they're starting to get into let's push for the playoffs and more mode. You got Tkachuk signed up. You got Batherson signed up. Getting DeBrincat signed up would be huge. Even though he's going to have a great year and be an RFA and they could do more, it's not going to be a slam dunk until they get him re-signed long-term, which they absolutely could. You have deals coming up to Alex Formenton, Josh Norris, guys like that to get done. But Thomas Chabot is signed up long-term. Anton Forsberg is a good goalie. He's a fringe starter, but I wouldn't mind if they could get someone else with him. So, if you have your first line of, let's say, Tkachuk, Actually, let's look at, I think they have, yeah, depth charts right here. The Hawks are just in rebuild mode right now. They got a good haul in terms of picks. I hope it turns out to something. It's hard to rationalize in my mind. You got Kachuk, Norris, and Batherson first line, DeBrincat, Stützle, and Brown second line. Of course, well, that's your top six. Mix and match how you like. Third line, Formenton, Pinto, and Mathieu Joseph. That's great. Fourth line, Parker, Gambrell, and Watson. I like that too. The defense is where I'm questioning. Shabbat, Hamonic, Brandstrom, Zub, Holden, Zaitsev. If you go out in free agency, get a good third, second line guy that allows Connor Brown maybe to bump down, get a solid top four defenseman and find a starting goalie with that 20 plus million that you have, the Ottawa Senators have at 20.7. Man, that is scary. That is scary. The Senators, good for them, man. This is a good trade, and it's hard for me to rationalize what Chicago did here. Not that they didn't get a good haul. I guess they, 3 solid picks, including the 7th overall pick that could become huge. Yeah, that's great. But it's hard to rationalize trading Alex DeBrincat. They traded Hagel, they traded DeBrincat, they're looking to trade Kirby Dach. Who is going to be left on this team? That's just wild in my mind. And Nasher calling this an absolute fleece. Brian, Mr. Brian Michalak, how's it going, Bello? I think that's just about it for X-Tech. Shocked that's it for the trade. I know it's easy to say like that's it right now, but who knows what that 7th overall pick becomes. It's just that it's going to take a long time to find out what it becomes. The Blackhawks will regret this one, I believe. Let's see. Tugi says 0 logical defense of this trade. Chicago could win a cup with the players they get from these picks, and it's still a horrible decision. Interesting thoughts there. It's when Chicago uses those players that they get in this draft, Kane, Taze, these guys are going to be long gone. That's going to be the problem there. I think that's just about it for DeBrincat. There's other thoughts to say about the draft, but I think I'll go ahead and start wrapping it up there. My instant analysis on the trade. I wanted to just get it out there because this is a bombshell of a move here in the NHL. So now with the Hawks picking at 7, if the top picks go right, the top 4 is a combination of Wright, Slavkovsky, and Cooley. If Nemec goes at 4, and I'm thinking if a forward goes at 5 and the Jackets take Yerchuk at 7, pretty much who's left between Kemmel, Gauthier, and Savoie will likely be who Chicago takes, in my opinion. Time will tell. We'll be here live tonight at the draft, live streaming the draft here at 7:00 Eastern on the YouTube channel. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up there. I'm trying to really rationalize it for Chicago. Yeah, they got good picks, but that is a tough trade to swallow because he hits all the boxes DeBrincat does. He is a goal scorer. He is a premier goal scorer. He's on top of the metrics. He's on top of the Corsi. He's there in everything that you could possibly imagine. I can't say much more than that. Ottawa gets a fantastic player. They give up a lot to get him, but if DeBrincat signs long term and he's a huge piece in their Stanley Cup, no one's going to be thinking about Cutter Gauthier or Joachim Kemmel too much. I don't think. Of course, can't see the future, but those are my thoughts on it. I think, sort of perfect timing for Zach here, who sorted out his YouTube, who's had to be commenting on the Discord server. Thanks, Zach. I think I'll wrap it up right there. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Leave your thoughts down in the comments after this video gets posted as an actual video on the YouTube channel. I'm going to make a thumbnail for it and all stuff like that, but I want to get my live thoughts out right away. DeBrincat is a monster. The Senators should be very, very, very happy. I'll look forward to seeing what Chicago does. Yeah, I heard Chicago is not done, so we'll see what happens right there. You got to think that Kemmel is going to be the guy who replaces the goal scoring they lost. But even, bring in Kemmel. Who's on the Blackhawks next season? Especially if you look to trade Kirby Dach, you're not bringing back Dylan Strome. This is going to be a bare bones team. I'd almost give Arizona the edge over Chicago. Like, I get, it's good they're going to be pushing for Bedard or Mishkov. It's full on rebuild mode. But if I'm Kane or Taze, I'm not happy with how they've moved Hagel and DeBrincat and possibly Dach. I'll wrap it up right there. Go Flyers NHL. Thank you for the love. I'm glad that you're liking the franchise mode. I'll stop right there. Hope you've enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts down in the comments here on YouTube or over on the Discord server. Link in the description. We'll be talking soon. And yes, this does set up an NHL 23 Blackhawks franchise mode. That's for sure, Zach. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time, and I'll see you tonight at the draft, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we'll talk soon.